5 on your side starts now with breaking news.
First at 4, we start with breaking news. A devastating explosion in North County today, damaging multiple homes. Right now, we're getting brand new information from first responders who are working that scene. Let's listen in right now.
The active investigation team, but for now, we're going to get an update on what happened here today. We're going to talk to Chief Peoples from the Blackjack Fire Protection District. His last name is Peebles. Then we'll hear from Chief Gregory with St. Louis County Police Department, as well as Captain James Morgan, who's the precinct commander here in the North County Precinct. We will also hear from Spire Public Information Officer Jason Merrill, that is Merrill. And then we'll hear from Miss Ann Vassman, Vastmans, from the American Red Cross. Chief.
Good evening, everyone. This morning, units around 9:15 were dispatched for multiple calls of an explosion in the area. Upon arrival, the initial crews found multiple buildings burning. A total of 5 were reported to be on fire. Crews actively upgraded this to a third alarm response. The third alarm response gave us multiple mutual aid agencies with over 100 people assisting in these efforts. The fire was quickly brought under control by crews working collectively together. We did have crews come in, perform search and rescue missions. We had bomb and arson. We had dogs on scene. The cadaver dogs have had no hits. We do have 3 individuals that have been transported to the hospital at this time. We've had structural engineers come in and look at the buildings. We want you to know, if a building has a red label, it is not to be entered into. If it is yellow, a resident can enter and grab any belongings. If it's green, it's safe to go in. But currently, right now, all of these buildings are without power and gas. We want you also to be aware that we have set up a station where you can drop off water, toiletries, items like that to help some of the displaced residents at our firehouse located at 5675 North Highway 67. Thank you.
Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to express our concerns for the citizens of this neighborhood. We're doing everything that we can to help them out. Right now, this investigation is being handled by our bomb and arson unit. Obviously, it's a very open investigation right now, nothing determined as to how this happened, but they're continually doing their investigation. Normally in situations like this, there's an obvious concern about security and vandalism or that type of thing. I want to introduce Captain James Morgan, who's the captain of the North County Precinct, to discuss that with you. Captain.
Good evening. I know that there's some strong concerns about people accessing their homes in this area, but right now we're asking everybody to kind of stay away from this area for now. We definitely are going to be blocking off all the entry points to this particular street where this location took place, where this incident took place. We are going to do our best to ensure that we keep this area safe from looters or anyone else that just wants to come through. We're going to have officers in the area doing preventive patrols. Then we will assess tomorrow, have a better plan for a permanent fix for over here. But for now, we're asking everybody to stay away if they can from this area. And like the Chief People said, if you have a red sticker on your property, we're asking you to do not go on those properties. You have a yellow sticker on your property, you can go inside but do not stay. And if you have a green sticker, you can go inside. You're okay to do so, but be aware that there's no gas and there's no electric up in this area at this time. So we would ask you to reach out to a loved one or maybe go through the Red Cross to find somewhere to stay for the next couple of days. Thank you.
Hi there, my name's Jason Merrill. I'm with Spire. Our hearts go out to the folks impacted by this, and we are cooperating with authorities on their investigation, and for the most part, many of those questions I do have to defer to them, but at a high level I can share from Spire's perspective some information that's important. So we were contacted around 9:30 about this issue. Our crews got out here right away to make the area gas safe, and for each individual home, turn off gas to their home. So it's approximately 30 homes where we turned off the gas at each individual meter to those homes. Some of you may have seen us digging at the corner down there. That was a safety precaution to get to that gas line in case we needed to do something more broadly, which we did not need to do. So the gas is currently off for those homes. Once we get a call clear from authorities, we can turn those back. But for many of the homes, as you can see, there's structural damage that would put us in a position where we really need the okay from a licensed contractor to get back and turn the gas on for those folks. The other thing that we did while we were here was check our natural gas infrastructure going to these homes. In doing that process, our folks did not find any issues with our natural gas infrastructure leading up to those homes. We've gone back through the last couple of months of 811 calls. So oftentimes in situations like this, what you'll hear is a contractor was digging in the area and may have hit a gas line. 811 is Missouri 1 call. It's a public where if you're going to have work done or excavation, you call, get the lines marked. Over the past couple of months, we cannot find any 811 calls in this neighborhood where people were doing that excavation. The other thing we've looked into is calls, where anybody may have called our customer experience or anything like that to say that they've smelled gas. We've gone back through and there have been no calls from anybody in this area saying that they smelled natural gas, which is odor, has that odor when you do smell it, and we encourage anybody who does smell gas to call us or call 911 if they smell it. And again, in this case, we cannot find that. So what I would say is this, we'll continue to work with authorities on their investigation, but overall I really have to defer questions on that investigation to the fire department.
The Red Cross is here to provide support to those in the community that were affected, and we have established a sheltering location. I want to say thank you to St. Angela Merici for opening their doors. That shelter is right up the road here at 3860 North Highway 67. So if you were affected by this morning's event and you need a safe place to stay, you are welcome at the shelter. We also know that several in the neighborhood are without power because of the explosion. And so you are welcome at the shelter as well to find some respite from the weather, to charge your electronics and so forth. And we will also be providing food and water there as well.
So before we take questions, we just want to acknowledge our representatives who are here today and invite them if they want to say something to their community members. We have Senator Mosley here, U.S. Representative Mr. Bell, Dr. Sam Page, St. Louis County, and Miss Councilwoman Shalonda Webb. So if someone has something to say, we'll take questions afterwards.
And I'll keep it brief. First and foremost, I want to give a special shout out to not only our first responders, our firefighters, our law enforcement, our Aspire workers, everyone here on the ground doing everything that they can to make certain to assess what's going on, understand what's going on, and get anyone any information or resources that they need. It is a blessing that no one was killed. You can look at this carnage, and the fact that no one was killed is an absolute blessing. But we got a lot of folks who are in need. And again, that shelter is right down the street, but also some of our seniors who may need more types of accommodations. Please contact us. We've been in touch with some of our stakeholders, such as the Urban League, who can help provide something in a longer term stay. So I want to thank everyone for the work that's been done here, and just prayers to the folks who were injured, but also praying for those folks who survived. It's such a blessing that no one was harmed.
Thank you. Again, I want to say thanks to our first responders. I've been in contact with our police chief today and our emergency operations center. And again, I want to say thanks to our first responders and mutual aid for their quick response. Looking at the devastation behind us, just like the congressman said, it's amazing that no one was injured. What you see here to right behind me, there's also damage 1 block to my right, 1 block to my left. It's just incredible that no one was hurt. We'll be working very closely with our members of the County Council to make sure that these residents have the resources they need moving forward, that we can start to clean up and get this neighborhood restored. But again, I want to thank our first responders. We're going to certainly be saying a prayer for the residents that were injured and for their family as we move forward together as a community. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Councilwoman Shalonda Webb. First and foremost, I want to thank God that no life was lost. And as everyone's pointed out, that this is a tragedy. I also want to thank all of our first responders who were here to make sure that we had first safety of life and then property. But all these materialistic things can be replaced. It's the value of life that we're so grateful for this evening. I also want to thank all of the electric, Spire, all the utility companies that's come out here to make sure things were done decent and in order. I want to thank Man Meats who came and fed our first responders today while they was putting out this 3-alarm fire. And I want to thank all of the D4 family, District 4 family that took heed to the words that I asked of today, that we just need to pray and stay out the way so they can do their work. I do greatly appreciate that. And now in the coming days, as people are going to try to restore themselves and pick up what is left behind, I want to be respectful of that as well, community, because what they're going through is a life of memories that can't be replaced. So be respectful of that, and let's not lurk to get pictures for Facebook. Let's pray and lift them up. The other thing I would like for you to do is to make sure that you go to those sites, Blackjack Firehouse 3 off of Lindbergh, and make donations, and also at St. Angelo Maurice, making sure that they have support there as well. This is a community that takes care of each other. Let's show up like we did when we had the tornadoes and make sure that each one of our residents, not for the quick response, but for that long-term response, has our support. Thank you all so much.
Greetings, everyone. I'm State Senator Angela Mosley, representing the 13th Senatorial District. I would like to again echo everyone. Thank you to the first responders who came out immediately. I do live 5 miles away from here, heard the explosion, felt the explosion, and things in my house did fall. I thought it was a tree that fell, but unfortunately it was an explosion, and thank God that nobody lost their life. My office has been in touch with the governor's office, as well as SEMA and Red Cross. And if you need any resources, please reach out to my office at 573-751-2420. That's 573-751-2420. And again, thank God there was no tragedies.
We'll take questions at this time. We'll have Chief Peoples come up to the microphone.
3 people transported to the hospital. How are they doing? Did they live in the home? Were they family members? Can you tell us more about that?
There were 3 different individuals in 3 different residences that were transported. Currently, we do not have an immediate update on their conditions, but they were transported. Everyone was transported expeditiously to the closest and most appropriate facilities. At that time, they were still conscious, living. We did everything we could to get them off the scene in an expeditious fashion.
Chief, any idea how many homes total have been damaged?
Over 20. Over 20. That includes some of the condominiums as well. So extensive damage in this area.
How many homes are currently without power and water?
This whole entire block, the next block over is without power, and we also have this entire area over here that's without power.
Any estimate on what that looks like?
That would have to come from utilities, sir.
How many homes have a red designation they can't enter in a yellow?
90% of them. 90% are red. If there's extensive damage in these homes, people will not be able to go back in there. It's just too dangerous at this time.
Is that 90% of the homes you've checked, or just in this little neighborhood?
In this area that we've checked. So that includes everything on this street, the next street over, and also in this condominium area.
But you still don't have a good guesstimate of 90% of how many?
So it's over 20 homes. 90% of those homes are red tagged. They're not going to be allowed to enter those residences.
People want to know what happened. I know you don't have those answers yet, but are there things you've eliminated or anything that you could help shed some light on what may have caused this?
It continues to be under investigation at this time. Bomb and arson is doing their job. They're doing their investigation. Again, we came on scene for a report of an explosion, and that's what we were looking for. Obviously, we had 5 homes burning. It's an ongoing investigation. This is a very dynamic situation.
Has your investigation been able to eliminate anything yet?
Not at this point.
So you guys had folks from St. Louis County. Can you run down just other agencies that have been involved in the investigation? Is ATF involved at all?
ATF has been involved as well. Bomb and arson, all of St. Louis County, building, multiple jurisdictional agencies. We had search and rescue USAR teams. You name it, they were here. Everybody in this area. We actually had to have units from, Rock Hill come up in our area to protect our engine houses, so from all over.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Well, what exactly are you looking at in the investigation? Are there some things that you look at first, second, third when you're trying to rule out possibilities?
So typically when we go into a building, obviously these were buildings that were blown out. So we have to see what could have been an ignition source. Those are the things that are being determined right now by bomb and arson. Bomb and arson is in control of this investigation, and they will be handling the investigation.
Chief, can you tell us here, it looked like there were 3 homes that were leveled. Have investigators identified maybe one home in particular where the blast came out of, the source of the explosion?
The area that they're centralizing their focus on is obviously the one that's completely down on the ground. So that's where they've actually, put most of their focus. And it's a total of 5 homes that were actually burned.
Is that just one house or is that 2 homes right there?
So there's 2 houses that are completely leveled, but then you got a couple houses that's right around the corner, and also this one.
Were the people who were transported, were they in any of the 5 or were they in others?
They were all within the 5 homes that were involved in this incident.
Anything that you could say to reviewers? I think when they hear a bomb and arson, people get scared. Should our community members be scared of something? Is that something you're investigating that someone could have done this?
First and foremost, we want you to know that is part of our procedure. So if we have something of this magnitude, we're going to call bomb and arson in. If it's an apartment fire, we're going to call bomb and arson. We do that to make sure we're keeping all of our residents and stakeholders safe. So that's nothing for them to be, overly concerned about. That's just part of our routine. That's our process.
We're pretty close to Coldwater Creek. Is there any concerns about environmental impacts from this blast and the creek so close?
No, sir. No.
I know you'll talk about a plan tomorrow. What is that? I know it's for media right now investigating, but what is the plan like to look like tomorrow and the days to come?
So first thing, we just want to make sure that we can have recovery efforts for our residents. We want to take care of them. That's the first thing that we need to do. We'll allow bomb and arson to continue their investigation, but we're going to be working on making sure our residents have a safe shelter, food to eat, and toiletries, the things that they need. That is our concern.
Is there anything more you can say about the 3 victims? Were they adults, children, men?
That's not been released, sir.
As far as what the next couple days look like, as far as getting people back into the neighborhood, what is that going to be?
That's going to be dictated by police. St. Louis County will allow people in as they see necessary and see it deemed. That will be done by the police department.
Is there a process for these people with the red stickers just to get approved to be able to return? Do they need to, obviously after getting repairs done, have someone stop by and approve of it before they can come back in?
So obviously there's going to be assessments from their insurance companies that are going to come in. But until those buildings are warranted to be safe, they're not going to be able to go in those buildings. You don't want to have somebody go into a building, then it collapse. The floors are not stable, the walls are not stable. The ceilings are about ready to come down in those houses that are marked red. So we don't want them even trying to attempt to go into those houses. That process is going to be ongoing. It's going to be worked with their insurance companies as well.
What would you say to someone, or what should someone who maybe has been at work all day, hasn't been able to get home, they've got things they need to get out of there, what process should they go through? Should they reach out to someone, like fire departments?
Their loved ones. No, we're not going to have, the buildings were, some are damaged so much, we couldn't get in there. We had to send cadaver dogs in. The buildings are not safe. We can't put our men and our women in there as well. They're not safe. And if you have a loved one and they've been at work all day and they have not had time to come home, that's when they reach out to their family and tell them, hey, we need you all's help. We need a place to stay. We need food. We need shelter. We need help. Going into these houses is not going to be help. That's going to be very, very dangerous. That is why we're telling you, if it's red, stay out of it. It's not safe.
Sorry, just to clarify, the 5 burn, is that included in the 20-plus homes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Correct.
And to clarify on the Red Cross shelter, that's overnight shelter as well?
In your years working here, have you seen an explosion or an event like this?
I've seen explosions in my career. I've got over 20 years in this service, so I have seen explosions. They all have their nuances to them, so this is profound.
As far as the process for clearing the buildings, is that something that the district will make the call on when a building is safe to go back in, or will the county government be involved?
County will be involved with that. It's going to come through the building department.
I'm curious in terms of recovery efforts for the electeds here. Will the county put any kind of resources towards recovery, or from the federal side that or the state, that you guys can talk about?
There is an order of operations for recovery that goes through the Emergency Operations Center. So we'll look first at resources that are available to individuals. This isn't, big enough to trigger a federal response. Beyond those individuals, we'll do everything we can as a county to help them, just like any natural disaster.
Thanks, everybody.
I was going to add to
Go
his
right
question. And just quickly, because, unlike the tornado, where the size and the scope of it was so large, considering that it's been contained to a roughly 20 residences, I think that we'll be able to work with our community partners, which myself and the county executive, the county councilwoman, and state senator have already been reaching out to folks. And for example, like the Urban League are going to help get the folks the help that they need, the resources that they need. But it's important to understand that, as the chief was saying, and I say this from my old position, is that there is a safety issue here. Nobody's getting evicted. I don't want that running out on social media. It's about the stability of the building and making certain that you don't go in there and get hurt because the building's not stable. And that's what those markings are for, and that's why those precautions are in place. And again, just want to shout out the first responders, our firefighters, county police, our Spire utility workers, so many folks on the ground. You got the best of the best here, and they should be applauded for that.
So thank you, guys. We'll send out a news release with some of those specifics, the number of people who have been injured. Again, this is under investigation by the St. Louis Regional Bomb and Arson Unit, and as soon as we have more information, we'll get it out to you. We just ask that you just really reiterate that people need to not be in this area. We don't need onlookers. We need people who are supporting these residents right now, and this area will be secure tonight. So as long as people are staying out of this area, I think that'll allow our investigators to continue their work, that'll allow Spire and these utilities to continue their work, and that will allow these residents to figure out how they're going to recover. So thank you, guys.